Today we are looking at Denver's most expensive zip codes. Hey everybody, it's Alyson with Live South Denver, your real estate strategist and realtor for the South Denver area. The most expensive zip codes in town are fun to hear about, nice to see, always pretty, but it's not just eye candy. There is a practical reason people love these areas. They are just nice places to live. We've got a lot to get through today, counting down the 10 most expensive zip codes in the Denver metro area. So let's get started. First up at number 10 on our list is 80108 at an average purchase price of $1,035,000. 80108 is the Castle Pines area. So what makes Castle Pines come in at the number 10 on our list? It is all about exclusivity and privacy. Castle Pines is known for gated communities, exclusive golf clubs, large semi-custom and custom homes. Throw in the mix all that natural beauty because you've got rolling terrain, stands of pines, which is where Castle Pines gets its name, some mountain views, foothill views, natural rock formations, and it raises that price, right? You've got privacy with gates, with mountain views and pine trees all around, so it feels like you're living like in a treehouse situation, yet in luxury, and it drives up the price point. All of this comes with a prime location because Castle Pines is situated right on I-25 for easy access, and homeowners have their students sent off to top-rated schools. Castle Pines in particular has access to one of the absolutely top-rated high schools, at least at the time of recording, that is available anywhere in the area. Number 9, zip code 80111. This is Greenwood Village over in the Denver Tech Center area with an average sales price of $1,082,000. So what is so great about Greenwood Village in this Denver Tech Center area? Well, it's just what I said, Denver Tech Center area. Location, location, location. So you could not live any closer to the Denver Tech Center. Literally, you'd have to live at work, which some people do, but who wants to? You still feel like you're in suburbia. You have these beautiful homes, green trees everywhere, mature trees, nice paths to walk, and you are literally no more than 10 minutes from work. And for some folks, you are in modern condos, you have no maintenance, you have nice skyline views. So it's an urban-suburban mix, but even the condos don't feel uber urban. You still have all this greenery around you, trails. Your backdoor park is really like Cherry Creek State Park, so you've got reservoirs, a lot of opportunity to get outdoors. Because the tech center is your backyard, you have got so much dining, right? This is a business center, so there are restaurants everywhere. You still have all those restaurant options for yourself on nights and weekends too. The Greenwood Village lifestyle brings with it access to exclusive amenities. This area, Greenwood Village, are a lot of private clubs, private fitness clubs, private community clubs, right? Golf clubs, private country clubs, whatever you are looking for where you want to have a little bit more cachet, members only clubs are here and available. A key part of the cachet to this area, top rated schools. Number 8 on the list, 80118, coming in at $1,084,000. Have you ever heard of 80118? Have you been looking at homes with a zip code 80118? Odds are you have not, unless you're looking for acreage, something a little bit more remote, but we are still in the Denver metro area. In fact, we are in my stomping grounds of South Denver in Larksburg and Perry Park. You can check out a video about that right here. So Larksburg and Perry Park brings it in, right? They're not even at number 10, they're in here at number 8 because of land and scenery and privacy, but you get all of that fairly close to town. So you're gonna get something on a little bit of space. It doesn't have to be huge acreage. You might only get a quarter acre or a half acre, depending on where you are. You could stretch it out to 20 acres or more, depending on where you are. But you're gonna get a little bit more elbow room and loads of trees. The number of trees out here, it's fantastic. There are some red rock formations out this way, so you're always getting some scenery and beauty. And you are really generally only about 15 minutes to town. You can push yourself out a little farther if you want. It's an option. But for the most part, to get to a grocery store, to get somewhere convenient, you're really close. As a bonus, it's not all about being secluded. There are state parks and regional parks and other access to open space, hiking, etc. that are out this way, that for those of us who are more in, Park or Highlands Ranch, Castle Rock, we've got to go through Larksburg or Perry Park or around it to get to, so you're a lot closer to some of these beautiful natural areas to enjoy all that Colorado offers. Lucky number 7 on our list, zip code 80206 at $1,203,000 average purchase price. We've bumped out of kind of my bubble of South Denver and we're in Denver proper, but we're not too far in, but we have definitely moved into Denver with this one. 80206 is all about location. It's a lot of C's. City Park, Congress Park, the Cherry Creek area, Denver Botanic Gardens is in there. That is a lot of green space, a lot of parks, a lot of convenience, and a little bit of bling. Cherry Creek is a fantastic area. There are some big tree-lined streets, a lot of luxury, some gorgeous townhomes and low-maintenance properties, and also some fantastic large homes. I don't quite want to call them mansions, but when you look at the price point and the size packed into these streets, it does feel like it when you're in the downtown Denver area. And then you have all that Cherry Creek has to offer, which is high-end boutiques, great restaurants, art studios, trendy cafes, fitness centers and facilities, beauty boutiques and bars. Cherry Creek seems to take the attention when I bring it up. A lot of people seem to know where it is. There's a lot of marketing that goes around it. It has an annual arts festival. There's a lot of life in the Cherry Creek area. But I talked about Congress Park, the City Park area, the neighborhoods around the Denver Botanic Gardens. They each have their own vibe and feel and are all spectacular. A lot of historic home options. So we have homes in the 1800s, early 1900s, and many of them have been refurbished. So we are not talking projects. That means tree-lined streets, green spaces, parks dotted throughout, larger parks, smaller parks. In here, you're gonna find little streets with cafes and spots to be walkable, so you have a lifestyle that requires you don't have to drive everywhere all the time. And the diversity of housing options is great too. You do not have to own a single family home. You can own a townhouse, and there are modern apartment options as well. It seems like it can go without being said, but I am going to say it. Anytime we're talking about downtown, convenience is a key factor. Anybody who works in downtown or has spent much of their life in an urban core, if they're coming from a major city, we have people who have lived overseas, spent a lot of time overseas, or are coming from New York or LA, and to downsize into Denver already feels like you're moving into a smaller city, so to go to the suburbs feels like too much. So moving into one of these softer parts of Denver is just right. And that convenience to get over to shows, plays, sports activities, that distance is short, the traffic is light because you don't have to take I-25. So the convenience factor for being in these spots is a huge selling point. Neighborhood number 6 keeps us in downtown, zip code 80210. We have an average sales price of $1,219,000. We have a fantastic conglomeration of neighborhoods over here at 80210. We have University Hills, AK Observatory Park. We have the south part of Wash Park. We have Platt Park. We have Corey Merrill. So exactly how does 80210 beat out the Cherry Creek neighborhood in prices? I mean, Cherry Creek has a lot of cachet. People know about it. It is a very expensive area. I will tell you how. It is scrape houses. So Observatory Park, aka University Hills, has a lot of large, modern scrape houses that are multi-million dollars, and they just keep churning them out and people are eating them up, and they are gorgeous. I will tell you, stunning, gorgeous, beautiful architecture. And also that little niche of South Wash Park is helping, but it is a lot of this Observatory Park, University Hills push on $2+ million scrape houses that is really pulling this up over what's happening in Cherry Creek, because there are some townhouses and some simpler living in Cherry Creek and condos that buffer those larger homes over in Cherry Creek area, which is why we're seeing the numbers pull for this area over here. There's some awesome homes in Corey Merrill too. I mean, all of it's great. Platt Park tends to be a bit smaller on the home size. These are awesome bungalows close to DU, and you've got South Pearl, which has a farmer's market. You've got parks in each of these neighborhoods for an amazing lifestyle. I think for almost everyone here in Denver, one of our favorite parks is Wash Park. It's not too large. You can circumnavigate the whole thing. There's trees throughout, lawns, courts, you can rent bikes, you can paddle on the lake. There's a kids park, so families are there. You can tell it's really a community park. So there's just a lot of life and communal feel to Wash Park. So anything on that is really going to cost you a pretty penny. And they are getting scraped and rebuilt, but people are also kind of keeping that historic charm on some of these and redoing them too. Each of these neighborhoods is going to have its own feel. They are close together and you can hop from one to the other very easily, but they're each going to have their own it factor. So if you like this area being close to DU, close to Wash Park, close to the farmers market on South Pearl, then this might be a nice area for you, and you've got I-25 to shoot north or south pretty easily if you need to commute. We are breaking the top 5. Zip code 80121, an average sales price of $1,246,000, and we are back in South Denver. 80121 is Greenwood Village. Now, I've given you a Greenwood Village, so what's the difference? Why does 80121 rank number 5 and the other Greenwood Village rank lower down the list? It all has to do with location. So Greenwood Village Denver Tech Center straddles I-25. There's a lot of commercial space to it. You've got condos. We have a little bit of an area that is under the flight path to Centennial Airport. Some of it's on the east side of I-25 and not the west side. This section of Greenwood Village, 80121, is all west side. It is adjacent to Cherry Hills Village. It is all suburbia. It's all trees. There's very little, if any, commercial space. I mean, there might be like on the edge on a corner somewhere. It feels like magic. There's just green and tall and semi-custom and gorgeous and private schools, and it's everything people imagine when they think Cherry Hills Village and Greenwood Village. And that, my friends, is why it is substantially more expensive than the other side of Greenwood Village. Coming in at number 4, 80116. I don't think you've probably ever heard of it unless you are looking for land, and it is here in South Denver, my friends. This is Franktown. Franktown is a fantastic spot, full of space, full of trees, and close to nearly everything. A short drive into Castle Rock, a short drive into Parker, makes it a not long drive to the Denver Tech Center or the airport either. You can easily get 5 acres. I would say almost everything in Franktown is on 5 acres. And if you want to stretch it a little bigger, totally doable. Number 3 on our list is a surprise to me. It's not a surprise it's on the list. It's a surprise to me that it's number 3. Zip code 80209. I love this zip code, and I expected it to be at number 2. It is Wash Park. I mean, it's Wash Park up to Belcaro leading to Cherry Creek, but it's the majority of Wash Park. And Wash Park is a truly favorite area in Denver. I love it. It's one of my very favorite neighborhoods, but I'm not alone in that. I have doctors who I've known for decades that want to buy in Wash Park, even as they keep their home next to their primary office. People who move from out of state want to live in Wash Park. People who've lived here a long time would buy a second home or consider moving to Wash Park because it doesn't quite feel like downtown, but it has a little more vibrancy to it. And the park is so fantastic. I mean, we have a love for Wash Park here. It's just got a fantastic vibe to it. The streets are so richly covered in trees. The park has a fantastic life to it. You're not far from, little coffee shop, a little this, Whole Foods is up the street. Everything's convenient. And not to leave Belcaro out, they are semi-custom to custom homes on tiny lots, but no maintenance then. It's pretty easy. And again, lush trees. You've got private schools nearby. You're convenient to Cherry Creek up the way. You're convenient to Wash Park down just a little bit. Your life is simple. It's a short commute into downtown. You're just gonna drive 15 minutes off the freeway, so it's an easy trip in. It's a good zip code area to be. So why is it number 3? Shocking to me. I'll get to number 2 and we'll talk about it. The average price in here, $1,364,000 for neighborhood number 3 on our list. So where does that bring us? What does number 2 deliver? Because I expected Wash Park to be number 2. I knew who number 1 was gonna be. You might not. But who is at number 2 then? Zip code 80135, back in South Denver. I was shocked. This zip code belongs to Sedalia, this little sleepy area that sits a little west and a little north of Castle Rock, pushes out into land, and it's beautiful land. I have sold houses up here with these fantastic clients, and It's gorgeous. And that's what it's all about. This is all about the acreage, all about the beauty, mountain views. I mean, my clients that recently were up there had mountaintop and 270-degree views into the city, the tech center, the mountains to Mount Evans, and they lived high up in the trees and had wildlife around them at all times with just walls of windows in their semi-custom home. They loved it. And then they decided to just go to warmer weather. Now they wish they could come back. So be careful what you wish for. But it is a beautiful, beautiful place to get away and have quiet, and you can see the city and see the mountains and not have to hear anything but wildlife and nature. And there's a lot of moisture up there. Things are green. You'll have little trails of rivers running along your side road. And you can have anything from maybe an acre to 2 up to 40 or more. And the price point ranges with it. Multiple millions to, 800, 900,000, 1.5, the whole gamut. And out that way, just past Sedalia, is a place called Deckers, which is world renowned for its fly fishing. There's great hiking out there. People will go tubing out there, all sorts of recreation this way. So it's a lifestyle choice. And that privacy and that acreage is a really big deal. Just like with Franktown, just like with Larksburg and Perry Park, all of this space gives you freedom to have toys, park your RV, just a little more space to have your hobbies and those things. It's a lot harder to have in town. Now, as I describe Sedalia, you might be picturing something so far off the beaten path that you're thinking, that is too remote for me. Well, not necessarily. It can be. Sedalia goes on and on and on for quite a ways as you leave Castle Rock, but it can be as close as 15 minutes to get into town, get to stores, get your groceries, go out for a meal. So it can run the gamut from, say, a 15-minute drive to a 40-minute drive. All of that depends on how deep you go and then how off the beaten path and the main path you are. And also it can seem maybe isolated. You're thinking, I don't want to be that alone. Or maybe you're thinking, I can't wait to be that alone. Well, there is a bit of a community essence and community feel back here, because once you're off the main road, many of the side roads are not maintained by the county or the state. They're dirt roads, often maintained by the neighbors or kind of your little enclave, possibly a sub HOA, but not necessarily, which means a couple people up the hill are gonna have plows on the front of their truck. They're gonna take care of the street for everyone, and the other neighbors are gonna pitch in with money or fuel or cookies or wood chopping. So there is a bit of community connection that needs to take place. Even if y'all don't talk all summer, you're gonna connect in the winter to coordinate that. So it's a bit different than any of us who live down in an HOA and in the city and the town are ever gonna need to coordinate or do or deal with our neighbors. All right, here we are at our number 1 spot. Was not surprising to me. We are still in South Denver. I love it. I'm so proud of my South Denver stomping grounds and how we've represented. We have taken 7 out of the 10 spots. These are such fantastic, nice places to call home. They are places people love. They call me and they just talk about how they've seen things online, or they have friends who've told them to come live here, or friends that have used to live in Denver and they say, go check out this place. I love what we have to offer here as options. This one, woo, it's expensive. It is the home to professional athletes and coaches, guys who are CEOs of major corporations and the ones who have started major investment firms that hold your money today as it grows for you to retire on. They live here. But also people who've lived here for decades when this was a no-name little spot and they were riding horses on equestrian trails that are still here today. They call it home too. The award for the most expensive zip code in the Denver metro goes to 80113 with an average sales price of $1,657,000. A round of applause, everyone, for Cherry Hills Village, as they proudly call themselves one of America's most expensive enclaves. So how does Cherry Hills Village win top honors? It really has nothing to do with having the newest homes. It has everything to do with having large homes on expansive lots of land. I don't necessarily want to call it acreage. It's 2 acres of land is very common, at least 1, sometimes a little more, but we're not thinking acreage like what I just spoke about out in Sedalia. It is enough for privacy, enough so that the neighbor next to you doesn't see in. It's enough to put in large stands of trees so that those act as privacy fences because you may or may not have chosen to have a gate around your yard. It's enough for a large setback so that as people drive by, they don't see your front door. It is enough so that you can come home and you can feel rested and safe and just be yourself. Because when you have the kind of wealth that many of the people who live in here have, you often feel on guard, you feel a sense of caution when you're out in the world, you're on all day at work. What you do is you're on high alert, or you're just on, and you want a place to come home and rest. And the space that is allowed here, the size of your home, the space that you have, your front yard space, the gates when they're there, give you a sense of just being able to let down. And that is what people are paying for to be in Cherry Hills Village. The fact that you, your neighbors, the one next door, the one down the street, the one in the private club, or the two private clubs you belong to, all also have wealth and money makes it more comfortable. This person isn't necessarily gawking at this person's wealth. Now, sometimes there's some showing off of wealth, that's to be between them, but the comfort of money makes it normal. And that is another one of the reasons that it is what it is in this area. As you can imagine, easy private school options are moments away from the majority of these homes. They're right in the area, as well as if the parents and families were to choose public school, it feeds into an excellent set of public schools, high schools, etc. right nearby. Want to know more about these neighborhoods? I've created a playlist just for you. Check it out right here. And if you have other questions you want to connect about these areas or anything else in the Denver market, please reach out. I would always love to connect. And I will see y'all next week.